full-time to part-time, the first year was a real struggle for me because obviously I didn't really know what I wanted to do work-wise. When I went part-time at Batley, I didn't really know what I was going to do for work-wise. Obviously the club offered me work, so I started off doing painting and decorating 3 or 4 times a week with one of the club sponsors. And then I sort of struggled with it and then found my role really where I was working with Batley Sporting Foundation. I sort of really grew into that, being a community coach. So going on community walks with people with mental health problems and then just going into schools, just coaching the sport rugby league, to kids that probably wouldn't ever play it, but trying to grow the game and expand it and try and bring more fans in for the club. So, and then I do a memories group on a Friday with loads of old fans that maybe have got no one else to speak to, but we'd all meet down at the library and it's just a group of people for them to come talk, have a cup of tea. Pretty up and running, but I just carried on. So I just took it over and then just sort of tried to add my sort of touch to it. And I think it really helped, obviously being a player for Batley. Fans would come down and interact because you don't normally get that. Being able to go on a walk with a player and pick his brains or something like that. So I thought it was quite a good opportunity for me to grow myself as a person and interact with the fans. But also it was a job that I enjoyed and it helped me a lot being a part-time player. The time at London were really good. It was a bit of a weird one. When I first made my first team debut, I was only signed on a reserves contract and it was 2 weeks before the season was canned because of COVID. So I've managed to get the 2 games in, the 1 Challenge Cup and 1 league game in. And then the week later, the season that was it. It was over and done with. And I was in a bit of limbo. I didn't know where I stood with the club, what I was going to do, because obviously the talk then was reserves was going to be cancelled. So I didn't really know what to do. I was finished my degree that year, so I was a bit unsure where I stood or what I was going to do. So at the time I spoke to the Coventry Bears as I thought about moving back home and probably just finding a job. But thankfully I got offered a contract to stay at London, so to stay full-time as well. So I managed to pick that up and I don't think I've ever looked back since. I just kept going and going and going and just trying to improve each year I've been. Craig for my 2 years at Batley, but Danny Ward and Jamie Langley at London for obviously giving me my opportunity, but they also really developed me as a player, sort of on that tactical side and technical side. Really helped me find my role as a centre, because when I went down to London I was more of a full-back winger who played half-back occasionally, and it was only because of an injury crisis that I found myself in the centres, and I've never moved out of the centre since. Coming to Cass as well, it's been very welcoming. They've welcomed me as a player. The group of players that obviously it's quite a new group, but I think we've all gelled really nicely, and I think it's a really good family vibe of a group where we're quite serious on the pitch, but away from the pitch we're trying to do things together, and we're always there for them. So I've had quite a few struggles off the field in pre-season, but the boys here have been really good and they've helped me through it. Every step of the way, someone's always been there, willing to talk or just go for a coffee or something. When Mag's coming in now as someone with a host of experience and has had one hell of a career, it's someone to learn off. So I think it's been the right move for me. Obviously not the injury was good, but how everyone was always looking out for me, always looking out for the best for me. Either senior players giving me advice and stuff, how I can make the most of this time, also just learn as well. Because sometimes I think looking at stuff from the outside helped me learn quite a bit. So I'd just sit down and watch video when I could, just of the games, and just pick up watch people in my position and see what they're doing really well and what I can sort of learn from that. Yeah, I met with Rowan. I met with Matty Pete.
Did you meet Matty Pete as well?
Chris Chester. I spoke to Warrington, Tony Smith. So I met with a few clubs and coaches, but ultimately for me, wherever I went, I always thought Cass gave me the best chance of developing as a player. And for me, the best way you develop is by playing. So I thought, it's a good place for me to come and work with someone that I've worked with previously, and I know that can get the best out of me, and has got me to this point now where I've developed over the last 2 years with him, so I'm already on the up. So why not keep working with him and keep going on the up and keep progressing and seeing where I can go.